What's up, guys? JJ Fade 23. I'm gonna make a video and show you guys the literal one setup that you can trade if you want to be profitable. If you want to be a profitable trader, you trade nothing else but this. Don't give a shit what everyone else is doing. Only trade this one setup and you will be a profitable trader. What is that setup? All right, guys. As you know, what do I trade mostly in the morning off the open? Small caps, as you guys know. From the Quanted video, watch the Quanted video I did. $1.50 to $10, right? Market cap less than 350 million. Volume over 1 million in the pre-market. And yeah, so I have my scan on trade ideas showing me stocks that are gapping up in the morning. If you guys will see this morning, you had LIPO. Now, obviously, guys, I do my red flag criteria. LIPO. This is a bit of a small float, right? I'm not going to lie. 650K is a small float. You have to be careful. If it starts to squeeze, it can get a little crazy. But, guys, the gap stats. 4 times it gapped up over 20%. 4 closes below the open. The average spike is only 7%. Average fade is 3 times bigger than the average spike. Yes, the market cap also is only 7 million. The price was perfect, right in the middle of $1.50 to $10. FDA approval, whatever. I don't even care about that, right? The thing had no cash and was a fucking turd with FDA approval. No other red flags besides the float, right? So sometimes you'll have a stock with a low float like this, good gap stats, but it will have it'll be on SSR. We'll have super high insiders. We'll have a low float. Okay, I say that's not a A+ setup. Guys, this right here, the only way this could be better is if this was like a 2 million float or a 5 million float, whatever, if the float wasn't a nano float, all right? So we have a gap over 100%. This is, guys, listen to me, all right? A+ setup, gap up over 100%, all right? Gap stats, 80% or higher. This one was even better because 100%. Okay? So let's write this down here. All right. Gap over 100%. Gap stats. Everybody, if you don't know what gap stats are, go look at my last video. 80% close below open. No red flags, right? Yes, we had the float. There was a red flag. If one red flag is okay, one red flag is okay if chart is like this, is okay. All right, one red flag is okay if everything else is perfect. Okay? Now, guys, most important thing besides the gap stats, you look at the daily chart and you want to see, I call this paint stripe daily charts, okay? Paint stripe daily charts. Look, it gapped up, paint stripe, barely any pop. It gapped up, paint stripe, only a small pop. Gapped up, pop, paint stripe. All red fucking paint stripes. When you have a stock that has no red flags or minimal red flags, gapping up over 100% in the daily chart, every time it gaps up, gives you a paint stripe with the best closes at the end of day, best cover. Guys, that is your A++ short setup. You smash the shit out of those and you ignore everything else. If you have other stocks like this that are gapping up, but they look like this, hold on. If you have other stocks that are gapping up, but the daily charts look like this, guys, and the candles close green like this, why you want to short that? All the other candles, it shows it closes strong, even if they only have a little wick up here, guys. Even if they only have a little wick like this, right? Even if they only have a little wick like this, and there's a bunch of these, but they show you it doesn't even like to make top and tails. It just makes a little wick, right? So you see that. You see this one. It's the opposite of paint stripe. Once you know that you have 100% gap stats or 80% gap stats, it's not red flagged out because there's not multiple red flags. It's in the price range. It's in the market cap range. Now you go to the daily chart because you know this thing has a high chance to paint stripe because history repeats itself. So you find the daily levels, all right? We look back. Daily level here, much higher. It's probably not going to get there because this stock has a history of just popping and dumping. Another right here, that's probably not going to get there because it doesn't have a history of spiking far. Now look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Multi-touch pivot right here. You see this? Multi-touch pivot, you guys. Multiple touches right here. Old support that break. Then you have pivot here and pivot here, all around the same area. You have another pivot right here. But I like multi-touch pivots the best, you guys. If stocks have multiple touches on the pivot like this right here, I like that. So I had that on my chart right there. 740. Multi-touch pivot. And I know this thing has a history of paint striping. So what are we doing, guys? All right, we're setting up like a gap and crap because it's already fell off the pre-market a little bit. So we're starting to see here. I don't know if it was actual gap and crap. Let's look. Pre-market high is right here. It didn't fall over 15%, but it doesn't matter. From the open, oops, hold on. No, 12%. So it's a gap and extend, not a gap and crap. Doesn't matter. The point is, guys, as you can see from the morning, look, you guys, 8:11 a.m. I already know it's not red flagged. It has great gap stats. Now look, what's the strategy? Trigger at key level or in lower high position. Guys, as I've said in millions of my videos, trigger candle. This is a trigger candle. Where's lower high position? You put your fibs from pre-market high and put it to the bounce area. Lower high position is anywhere above the 61 fib, risking off this high. So you're waiting for the open. You're waiting for the open. It pops up. Boom, right here, pops, slams back down. Short, 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 short. You smash that, risking off this high, and you cover at your targets. This is the #1 best setup in all of trading. Guys, when the stats are this good and the stocks have paint stripe daily charts, most of them in the first 1 or 2 minutes fail and never recover. That's just what happens, guys. Look, paint stripe. Now, granted, I sized in a little more than I usually do, so I started covering a little too fast. My target's supposed to be 1 minute 200, 5 minute 200, end of day. I covered the first bit a little fast. Then I hit my target 1 minute 200. Covered a little before the 5 minute 200, half, and then the rest at end of day. Point is, guys, I got a little excited, so I put a little too much size on. I was like, oh, I got to size down a little. But point is the setup. Not what I'm doing exactly, just the setup itself. This one setup, guys, is the best way to be a short seller in the stock market. It's just the way it is. It's the gap stats. It's the paint stripe daily charts. It's the no red flags. It's just history repeats itself. It's up over 100%. Huge gap to fill. Guys, the thing is, look how far we are off the 10-minute EMAs. Pre-market data off. Look at that, guys. Look at this. This thing at the open popping. Look how far we are off them. They all come back to the 10-minute 21.34 eventually. And here you go. Almost every daily gapper comes back to the 10-minute EMAs at some point. Check it out. Put your 10-minute 21.34 on. Shut the pre-market data off. Almost every gapper comes back to these. So look how far we are off. When we popped up to here, guys, we're literally friggin'. At this point, we pop here, you're like a mile off. You're even if you angle it, right? When it pops straight up there, it's way down here. You're 60% off, even if you angle it to where it was. I mean, guys, massive gap off the 10-minute EMAs on an A++ short setup. So that's the one setup that will make you profitable if you just ignore everything else. If it's not perfect, don't trade it. If it's a maybe, maybe not, don't trade it. Wait for the paint stripe daily charts and smash them. All right. Thanks, guys.